Hello, welcome back. So, in the last session, we have discussed about relational model. So, we have the relational database in your hand. Now, how to express different operations on this database? That is, we have to process this database to retrieve some data. So, we have to express the corresponding operations or queries. For that, we need some query languages. We need some formal languages. So, this session is about formal languages for relational model. And we have three different formal languages for relational model. Those are relational algebra, relational calculus, and SQL. And currently, most of the relational database management system use this SQL for query language. And this SQL is actually based on these two different languages. Those are relational algebra and relational calculus. So before moving into SQL, let us first learn these two different languages, relational algebra and calculus. And this session is about relational algebra. So this relational algebra is very important for understanding the types of requests that may be specified on a relational database. And also they are very important for query processing and optimization in a relational database management system. And the main drawback here is that relational algebra operations are considered to be too technical for most commercial database because the user have to specify in what order to execute different query operations. Once we specified all these things, the query will, when executed, will produce the results, but the user should know how and in what order the different queries should be executed. Those things should be specified. Whereas in case of SQL, it provides a high-level declarative language interface. So the user only specify what the result is to be. Actual optimization and such decisions on how to execute the query, those will be left to the DBMS itself. So this session is from chapter 6 of the textbook. So these are the different contents to be covered. Different unary relational operations like selection, projection, etc. Then some other operations from set theory. Then binary operations like join. Then some additional relational operation. Then examples for queries. So these are the topics to be covered. First, let us think about unary operations. The unary operation, as you know, it works on a single relation, whereas the binary operation, which works on two different relations. So first unary operation is the select operation. So select operation is actually used to select a subset of tuples from a relation that satisfies certain selection condition. So this is how it is expressed in relational algebra. We have the sigma operator to specify the select operation, and we have to specify the selection condition, and inside the bracket we have to specify the relation upon which we have to perform the selection operation. So we can put a selection condition like attribute name, comparison operator, then constant value, or attribute name, comparison operator, another attribute name here. Like that you can express. So keep in mind these are the different tables we have populated in the last session. We have an employee table with 8 different employees whose data are populated in the employee relation, and department we have 3 different department information. So we are performing some operations on these different relations. Okay, so this is a syntax on this select operation. So we can see an example. We have the operation with condition. So sigma of department number is equal to 4 and salary greater than 25,000, or department number is equal to 5 and salary greater than 30,000 from this relation employee. So the meaning is that we have to select employees who belong to either department 4 with salary greater than 25,000 or who belongs to department number 5 and salary greater than 30,000. So any of the employee who meet this condition will be selected based on this select condition. So the working of the selection condition is that it applies to independently each and every tuple in R, and if the condition evaluates to true, the corresponding tuple will be selected. So any conditions like and, or, not can be applied. So after performing that operation, selection operation, this will be the result. So all employees in department 4 with salary greater than 25,000 and all employees from department 5 with salary greater than 30,000. All are listed here. So this is the output. Now we can cascade different selection conditions. We can perform this selection as a chain of different conditions. Now the second operation is project operation. So if you think of a relation as a table, the select operation chooses some of the rows from the table while discarding other rows, right? So whereas in case of project operation, it selects certain columns from the table and discard other columns. Just like if we are interested in only certain attributes of the relation, so we can just project those attributes alone. So we use the project operations. This is the syntax for project pi. Then the list of attributes to be displayed. The required list should be specified here, and inside bracket we have to specify the relation on which we are performing this operation. So degree of a relation means the number of attributes in this attribute list. Now, if the attribute list includes only non-key attributes of R, then duplicate tuples are likely to occur, right? And the project operation removes any duplicate tuples. So the results of the project operation is a set of distinct tuples, and definitely it will be a valid relation. So this is called duplicate elimination. We can see an example for this project operation. So we are performing a project operation, that is we are retrieving only the last name, first name and salary of different employees. So this is the output of the corresponding project operation. We are retrieving only the last name, first name and salary. You can see the corresponding query here. Like that we are just retrieving the gender and the salary of employees. This is the corresponding project operation output. So next is about sequence of operations and the rename operation. So in most of the queries, we need to apply several relational algebra operations one after the other, right? So different ways are there to express such chain of queries. So first method is we can write the operations as a single relational algebra expressions by nesting the operations. That is called inline expression. Just for example, suppose we have a query to select all the employees from department 5 and project those first name, last name, salary for those employees alone. So we have to perform two different operations. First we have to select only the employees belonging to department 5 and then project their first name, last name and salary. So how to perform this operation? The first method is combining all these two different operations together into one expression, that is called inline expression. And second method is performing one step at a time, one operation at a time. So here first we will perform the selection operation, department number 5, selecting all the employees from department number 5 and then perform the project operations to select a project corresponding attributes like F name, L name and salary. So in the second case, that is sequence of operations, each step will results in an intermediate relation, right? So we have to give some name to that intermediate relation result. So here the department 5 employees will be the name given to the set of employees belonging to department number 5. Then we will perform the project operation and the final result relation also we are giving some name. So each step should be named properly. So we can use this rename operation to rename corresponding relations or attributes in intermediate results relation. So the corresponding operator is row. So different syntax are there. Either we can rename both relation and attributes. So we are changing the name of the relation and attributes here, changing the name of the relation into S and attributes into B1, B2, Bn, etc. This is the first method. Or we can simply change the name of the relation without changing the attribute names. This is the second method. So we are changing the name of R into S without changing the attribute names. And the third one, we are just changing the attribute names without changing the relation names. So keeping the relation name R itself, we are just changing the attribute names into B1, B2, etc. Bn. So different ways we can rename a relation or attribute. So here's the example for performing that sequence of operations. So we first apply the selection operation to select all the employees from department 5. Then we will project the attributes as our first name, last name and salary. So this will be the final output for the sequence of operations. Now the next group of relational algebra operations are the standard mathematical operations on sets. So we can use different operations on set theory to merge the elements of two different sets in various ways, right? Like union, intersection, minus, etc. So all are binary operations perform operation on two different sets or two different relations, right? So first one is union. This will be the operation expression R union S, which include all the tuples that are either in R or in S or in both R and S. So duplicate tuples will be eliminated when performing this union operation. And second one is intersection R intersection S, which include all the tuples that are in both R and S. And the third one is set difference or minus. R minus S will be the algebraic representation, which include all the tuples that are in R but not in S. This is the condition. So here is an example for this union operation. We have result 1 with 4 different SSN numbers and result 2 with 2 different SSN numbers. And when we perform this union operation, we will get 5 different tuples because one entries in both R and S. So duplicates will be eliminated and we will get a result relation with 5 different entries. And while performing these type of operations, one condition is that these different relations should be union compatible or type compatible. Type compatible in the sense two relations can be said to be in type compatible mode if both have the same degree, that is same number of attributes, and the corresponding attributes of these relations should be have the same domain. Say for example AI is the attribute for first relation and BI the corresponding attribute for the second relation. Both should have the same domain. Then only we can perform the operations like union and all. So we can see an example here. We have two different relations, student and instructor. So first operation we are performing is student union instructor. This will be the result. So here we can see that both student and instructor having the same degree, both having the number of attributes 2. And coming to the domain for first name here, and here also we are using F name, right? So both having the same domain. And like that the second one also having the same domain. LN and LName will have the same domain. So this can be told as type compatible. So we can perform the operation. So the result will be like this. All these elements will be merged. We'll have a table with all the instructors and all the students. And second operation is student intersect instructor. So we will get only those which are common, that is both student and instructor. So we can see some entries like Susan and Ramesh, whose entries are there both in student and instructor. So that will be result in case of intersection. And for third operation is student minus instructor. That means all the entries which are there in student but not in instructor. So the mere students will be selected in this operations. So 5 entries are there. So which are students but not the teachers. And the last operation instructor minus student, that means all the instructors who are not student. So such entries will be listed in case of a last operation. So John, Ricardo and Francis are just instructors and never student. So these are examples for different operations. Next operation is Cartesian product, cross product or cross join. So which is denoted by this cross operator. That is also a binary set operation, and there is no condition that the corresponding relation should be union compatible. Any two different relations we can apply this Cartesian product. So definitely it is meaningful to concatenate or perform this Cartesian product operation on itself, right? So it is mostly useful when followed by a selection that matches values of attributes coming from the component relations. So for example, suppose that we want to retrieve the list of names of each female employee is dependent. In that case, we can combine an employee relation, or we can Cartesian apply this Cartesian product on this employee relation with the dependent relation. So we will get every combination for the employee dependent relation. So for each employee, the corresponding dependent, such a tuple will be there in the resulting Cartesian product relation. So such case we can use this Cartesian product. So we can see an example for this. So here this table, this relation is after performing the Cartesian product of employee and its dependents. So we can see that the first, for Alicia, we will get this much entries as the number of dependent for this Alicia. So we can see that whoever is the dependent for Alicia using this table, for every employee, there will be a tuple corresponding to his or her dependent. So for such cases we can apply this Cartesian product. Now let us move on to the third group of operations. Those are binary relation operations like join and division. So the join operation is denoted by this symbol. This is very important for any relational database with more than a relation, single relation, because it allows us to process relationships among different relations. Just for example, suppose that we want to retrieve the name of the manager of each department. So we don't have such a relation, right? We have to combine the employee relation and department relation to see that some particular employees are managers of some particular department. So to get the manager's name, we need to combine each department tuple with the employee tuple whose SSN value matches the manager SSN value in the department tuple. So we can see how this can be performed. First, we will perform the join operation on department and employee relations with the condition that manager SSN is equal to SSN in employee. So after performing this operation, we will get a table like this. For research, we will get the corresponding manager employee, that is Franklin. Like that, for every department, we will get the corresponding manager alone. Then after this, we will just project the department name, last name and first name of the corresponding department manager. So the first result of the first operation will be named as department manager, and we will perform the project operation on this result. And the different types of joins are there, like theta join, natural join and EQ join, etc. We can see one by one. In case of this theta join, the condition can be of the form AI theta Bj. As we know, we are joining R and S, two relations R and S. So AI is an attribute of relation R and Bj is an attribute of relation S, and theta can be any operation, any comparison operations like equal, less, greater, etc., not equal, etc. And the main speciality of theta join is that it's a general condition, that is tuples whose join attributes are null or for which the join condition is false will not appear in the results. In that sense, the join operation does not necessarily preserve all the information in the participating relations, because the tuples that do not get combined with matching ones in the other relation will not appear in the result. Such joins are called theta join. Another variation is EQ join. EQ join join condition with equality comparisons. Such a join where the only comparison operator is equal to is called EQ join. So EQ join is a specific type of theta join in which the comparison always should be equality. The previous was an example for an EQ join, right? That because we are combining two different relations, those are department and employee, with the condition that manager SSN in department is equal to SSN in employee, right? So this is an equality condition, so EQ join. So we can notice one thing that in EQ join, we always have one or more pairs of attributes that have identical values in every tuple. Just for example, here also, we will see that the manager SSN and the SSN in the resulting tuple are the same value, right? This is actually a duplicate. So we can eliminate this duplicate entry using the third operation, that is natural join, which is denoted by star operation. So this will remove the second attribute, that is second superfluous attribute in an equijoin condition. So the standard definition of natural join requires that the two join attributes or a pair of join attributes have the same name in both relations. So that is a condition here. Just for example, in case of department and employee, we have different names, right? One is a manager SSN, second one is SSN. But if this is the case, that is different names are there for the joining attributes in two different relations. First, we have to apply the renaming to get a common name for both joining attributes. Then only we can perform this equijoin operation. So there is no need of specifying any condition. We can simply perform the natural join operation using the star symbol. So we need to just specify the joining attribute name alone, because the same name will be there in both relations, right? So just specify the name by which these two different relations should be joined. So by using this join, we can eliminate the second redundant column. Next is join selectivity. It's a new term. So if no combination of tuples satisfy the join condition, the result of a join is an empty relation with zero tuples, right? So in general, we can say that if the relation R has nr tuples and the relation S has ns tuples, when we perform the join operation on R join S with the join condition, the resulting relation will have between 0 and nr star ns tuples. So the expected size of the join result, whatever may be between 0 and nr star ns, divided by the maximum size, that is this will be the denominator. That ratio is called actually join selectivity. Okay, so which is a property of each join condition. And obviously, if there is no join condition, all combination of tuples qualify and join degenerate into a Cartesian product, right? So that is called, that is why it is called cross product or cross join. So a single join operation is used to combine data from two different relations so that the related information can be presented in a single table, right? So this type of join is also called inner join. Okay. Why it is called so? Because we have another variation of join that is called outer join. We can see it later. So the joins we have followed so far is called inner join. Now we can see an example for this join. Because we want to combine each project tuple with the corresponding department tuple that controls the project. So we have to relate each project with the corresponding department which it controls. So we can perform the natural join operation here using this department number as the join attribute, right? So they are correlated using this department number. But the thing is that here the attribute name is different in both relations. Say for example, in case of project, it is denoted, the department number is denoted as dnum, where it is where in the case of department it is represented as d number. So either of the attribute name should be renamed. So we can do the corresponding join operation as a single expression, just like this. This is called inline expression, right? So project and department are joined using natural join. At the same time or before the corresponding operation, the renaming is done. The department, the attributes are renamed as dname, dnum, manager SSN, manager start date, etc. So both the project and department will have now the department number as dnum. So we can perform the natural join operation using this dnum as the join attribute. Now the same thing can be achieved by two different steps as a sequence, right? So in that case, first the renaming will be done using this row operator, and the result will be stored in this department. Then dpt is the intermediate result. Then that will be joined with project. to get the corresponding join product. So this is the result after performing that join between project and department. We have the new relation project department. So with these attributes, and we have only one column named dnum because both the project and department have the same column, and in natural join only one will be there in the result. Like that, another join operation is done for departments and locations. Now the set of relational algebra operations like sigma, pi, union, row, minus and join can be called as a complete set, because any of the other original relational algebra operations can be expressed as a sequence of operations from this list. Just for example, we don't have the intersection operator here, right? And the intersection can be implemented using this union together with minus. That is R intersection S, which is equivalent to R union S minus R minus S union S minus R. Like that, any other operations can be expressed using this set of operators. That is why it is called complete set. So different operations and the corresponding expressions are denoted here. So we have another one operation called division. So division is actually produces a relation Rx that includes all tuples T in X in R1 set that appear in R1 in combination with every tuple R2 Y, where Z is equal to X union Y. So we can see this division operation with an example. So this division operation is useful in some certain operations we have to perform. Just for example, suppose we have a query like this: retrieve the names of employees who work on all the projects that John Smith works on. Retrieves the names of all the employees who works on all the projects that John Smith works on. So before moving on to this example, let us see a simple example for division. We have a relation R with two attributes A and B, and this much tuples are there, and we have another relation S with one attribute A. Now after applying this division operation, we have the resultant relation T with attribute B with two tuples B1 and B4. So we can say that to perform a division operation, the first relation, that is R, have a set of attributes say Z. Here it is the set of A and B, and the second relation is which have another set of attributes say X. Here it is A. So this X always should be a subset of this set. Here the set A is a subset of the set A comma B, right? So that condition should be always met. Now what are the tuples to be there in the resultant relation? The criteria is that for every tuple in the resulting relation, that attribute should be there in R in every combination of attributes in S. That's the condition. So here the resulting attribute B1 is there in R with every possible combination of tuples in S. That is, B1 is there with A1, B1 is there with A2, and B1 is there with A3. Like that, B4 also, B4 is there in combination with A1, B4 is there in combination with A2 and A3. So all such attributes, the corresponding tuples will be there in the resulting relation. So if we check on for B2, B2 is there in combination with A1 and A3, right? There is no combination of B2, A2. So we cannot select this B2 for the resulting relation. So this is how the division is actually performed. So next we describe a notation typically used in relational systems to represent queries internally. The notation is called query tree, or sometimes it is also called query evaluation tree or query execution tree. It includes the relational algebra operations being executed and is used as a possible data structure for the internal representation of queries in RDBMS. So a query tree is a data structure that corresponds to a relational algebra expression. So it represents the input relations of the query as leaf nodes of the tree and represents the relational algebra operations as internal nodes. So an execution of the query tree consists of executing an internal node operation whenever its operands, that is represented as its child nodes, are available, and then replacing that internal node by the relation that results from the executing the operation. And finally, the execution terminates when the root node is executed and produces the result relation for the query. For example, suppose we have a query like this. For every project located in Stafford, list the project number, the controlling department number, and the department manager's last name, address, and birth date. This is the query. Let us see how it is expressed as a query tree. So the input relations are represented as leaf node. First we have the project from which we have to select all the project location with value of Stafford, and we have to combine that, join with the department to get the department number for the corresponding projects, and then we have to combine that with the employee relation to get the manager SSN. So finally we will get the corresponding information of the manager. So this is how it proceeds. So any expression can be expressed like this using the query tree. So here you can see that the execution should begin at node labeled 1. Then only the second node, that node labeled 2, can proceed. It is waiting for some results at node 1, and then it will execute using this relation and department relation together. When the execution at node 2 is finishes, it will result in a relation which is given as the first operand for 3 and second operand will be employee. Together it will execute the expression here, and finally it will reach the root where the projection operation is done. This is how the query proceeds. Next, let us see some additional relational operations, some common database operations, like the first one is generalized projection. So this allows functions of attributes to be included in the projection list. Normally we will list out different attributes here for the projection operation, right? Instead we are using some functions here. This will be some functions of some selected attributes, say. Just for example, in case of employer relation, instead of you directly listing out the different arguments or attributes like SSN, salary, etc. Say we can apply some functions on salary like 20 into salary or something. Some function can be applied on different attributes. Such projection operation is called generalized projection. Then we can have some aggregate functions and groupings, like common functions include sum, average, maximum, minimum, etc. can be also used here. Just for example, in case of employee relation, we can have retrieve the total number of employee tuples in a employee relation, or the maximum salary or average salaries, like that. Different types of functions can be applied. We can define this aggregate function operation using the simple, that is pronounced as script F, to specify the different types of requests, like grouping attributes, then this script F, then function list on a relation R, like that we can represent. For example, to retrieve each department number together with number of employees in the department and their average salary, while rename the corresponding attributes into resulting attributes into number of employees, average salary, etc. This is how the expression can be written. So for the first query, this will be the resulting relation. Relation is renamed as R here, with the attributes DNO and number of employees, average salary, and all this will be grouped according to the department number, and the corresponding values will be listed here. Like that, any expression can be represented. See an additional extension to join operation that are necessary to specify certain type of queries. So the join operation we have discussed so far was inner join, right? That is in case of natural join and all, only tuples from R that have matching tuples in S will be appear in the result, right? So any tuple without a matching tuple are eliminated from the join results, and tuple with null values in the join attributes also will be eliminated. And a set of operations called outer join were developed for the case where the user wants to keep all the tuples in R or all those in S or all those in both relations in the resulting join, regardless of whether or not they have matching tuples in the other relation. So for such operations we are using this outer join. So different types of outer joins are there, depends on which tuples we have to preserve. So left outer join, right outer join, full outer join, etc. Let us take an example. Suppose that we want a list of all employee names as well as the name of the departments they manage, if they happen to manage a department. If they do not manage a department, we can indicate it with a null value. So in such case, we can apply an operation left outer join. So we are joining employee with department with join attribute as SSN, and we are performing a left outer join. The left part is a bit open. This left outer join. So meaning is that even if some employees are not managing any department, we don't want to lose the corresponding employee information. So the resulting relation will contain a null attribute for the remaining. Okay, we can see an example for that. Here, after performing that left outer join for employee and department and then projecting the corresponding first name, middle name, last name and department name, we will get a relation like this. Just for example, John Smith is not managing any department, so department name will be null without losing the corresponding information. Franklin is managing a research department, Alicia is not managing a department, like that. We will get all the employee information together with managing department names. Like that, right outer join or full outer join also can be performed to preserve the required values. This is all about relational algebra. In the next session, we can see how these queries can be expressed using relational calculus. So two different classifications are there, domain calculus and tuple calculus. We can see both of them in the next session. Thank you.